We are broadcasting live.
Good morning, everyone. This is the meeting of the Council for the Town of Mono held on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. This meeting is being conducted both in chambers and by means of electronic participation as permitted by Section 238, subsection 3.1 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, and the Town's of Mono's Procedural Bylaw 2020-42. Residents can view this meeting online or later on YouTube. We do have a quorum. Just a reminder that the emergency exits are in the rear of the council chamber. Members can declare pecuniary interest at this point or at any point in the course of the meeting followed up in writing with the clerk. And I'm going to call on Councillor Davey to do the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Crillman. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Mono resides within the traditional territories and ancestral lands of the Tenochtitlan, the Attawandaron, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples. We also acknowledge that the town of Mono resides within the treaty lands under Treaty 18, the Nottawasaga Purchase of 1818. These traditional territories upon which we live and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions, and it is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connections of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways, and resources.
Thank you. We have no proclamations today. Public question period. Do we have any submissions?
Agenda.
Oh, pardon me. I'm rushing, trying to get to the main event. So I have a motion that Council approves the agenda of Session 5-2026 as circulated. Do I have a mover? Councillor Mangtalo, seconded by Councillor Davey. Any opposition? That motion carries. I have a motion that Council approves the minutes of Session 4-2026 as circulated. Deputy Mayor Nix, seconded by Councillor Davey. Any opposition, questions? That motion carries. Question period.
We have no questions, Your Worship, that have been submitted online in advance.
Okay. In the gallery, do we have any questions? And we will be dealing with the requested noise exemptions for the event center. So, and I'm going to leave it up to Council whether we have a sort of an interactive back and forth with you during us addressing that particular issue. But let's start by asking if there are any questions apart from the OAS and the noise issue. Yes, sir. Come on forward. If you could just state your name. Your Worship,
you were going to give me a minute to make a retraction.
Yes, I'm going to.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Just a very quick question.
Mike?
There's a button.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I noticed on the Mono website. Oh, sorry. My name is Stephen Middleton. I'm on Prince of Wales. Actually, I live in Mulmer. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I noticed on the Mono website there is under the committees section a homepage or a page for the Headwater Streams Committee, whose goal is to monitor, protect, and rehabilitate streams in and around Mono and work with existing groups, conservation authorities, stewardship groups, and to enhance or rehabilitate surface water flows. There's nothing behind that committee page, no minutes, no agendas, no reports. Do you know what the status of that committee is?
I'm going to let Deputy Mayor Nix address it. Hang on.
Yeah, I don't know how the web page works, but we do submit to Council an annual report that documents everything we do. And I think my report was in the last Council minutes, or was it the last ones? So if you just back up to the minutes of the meeting, the last meeting we held, right. There's a 3-page report that tells you everything we did last year, in fact, everything we've done for the last 13 years. We're not, to be honest, we're not a very large committee. We're less than a dozen people. But we work with the 3 conservation authorities that are in Mono. We raise a little bit of money. A lot of what we do is plant trees for the conservation authorities. Okay. But we are doing some exciting things. So if you go back one meeting,
We'll do
you'll
that.
find our annual report.
Okay, thank you.
For clarification, I mean, all of our committees are no more than 12 people, actually, our RAC and our DEI and all of them. So, but it's more that your committee is a different kind of fish than the other committees that we have. Is that not true?
Yes,
Sort of a
Councillor
pond.
Davy, you're correct. It's technically, whereas some of the committees, well, like the Heritage Committee used to be, or the Planning Committee, are committees of council, and they have to follow council procedures, publish agendas, and do all that sort of thing. The Headwater Streams Committee is not. It exists through a memorandum of understanding from 2012, I think. It's separate. Like, we can appoint members to our committee without having to come to council to do that. We're an independent committee. The only rule is to spend money, we have to clear it with council. So if we have a project, we have to come to council and say, here's the project, can we spend the money? They always say yes. Except that we wanted to have one of our annual meetings in Las Vegas, and they weren't too keen on that, but that's a joke.
Very careful where you go next with that.
Water is a big issue in Los.
So how does somebody get involved with your committee?
Well, they could phone myself, or Karen is the chair, Karen Morrison. We would gladly, are you interested in being a member?
I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we could do with members.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could just add, and excuse me if you've mentioned it, I've been trying to get online here. Headwaters Stream Committee has done work outside of Mono, and I think has had members from outside of Mono as well.
Yes, we have members from Amaranth, Caledon. Our mandate is to do work in Dufferin County, anywhere. However, we do work in Caledon, but we don't spend money there. When we work for TRCA, Toronto Region Conservation Authority, we've done work down there, but that's just volunteer labor. We don't spend money there. We only spend money in Dufferin County.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for inquiring. Any other questions? Say good morning. If you could just state your name and address.
My name is Zachary McCormick. My address is 6196 County Road 13. I submitted an email last time that was apparently never gotten. I submitted an email this time. I was just curious if Fred got it this time.
Mr. McCormick, I believe?
Oh, I don't have to hold the button. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Does this sound familiar?
Is this the email? I don't recall an email other than the one, Your Worship, I gave you, and I don't recall the name that was on that.
I just
that was
want-
pertaining to the OAS application today. You're the gentleman I exchanged
Pretty
email with
certain.
saying that you wanted to give a delegation. I suggested you came to council and ask the question during the application.
I'm pretty certain it wasn't Mr. McCormick.
Okay,
This would be the second time I've submitted an email that you have not gotten now, though.
okay.
I
haven't
have
gotten
records
it.
of this one now, too.
Okay, no, I haven't received such an
Can you
email.
resend and copy me?
I can, yes. I don't know if I can do it in here because there's no service, but this would be the second time now I've sent an email to you, and I believe you're the lady that works for you, and that you have not gotten.
Then it is quite possible it's
This one went
potentially
directly to you.
caught in our email server. I can't say if I haven't got it, then I'm not sure why I haven't got it.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that up. This is the second time I've tried to send an email through your guys' actual website and
Right.
emails that have been provided to me, and you guys haven't got them.
The form, because I was under the impression last time that it was actually that you'd filled out the question
Did.
on in the form,
Did.
and that you did get that one.
No, he said he never got it. He got one from somebody else that wasn't me that was received the day before. Mine was sent 6 days before the actual
So you're
meeting.
not just composing a separate email, and that's
This one
getting
was a
lost.
complete separate email
Okay.
addressed right to him.
All right.
Copy me, please.
I will try to do that. Like I said, I don't think I can do it down here, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up that there's probably been a big breach of people sending you stuff that you guys are not getting at all, because that is the second one I've sent now.
Well, everybody's seen me struggle here trying to get connected, so.
I see that, but what I'm saying is that there's probably a lot of people addressing concerns about the events happening in this actual township that are not being even held or heard by any of you guys because of the fact that you are not getting any of the emails that are being sent to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from the gallery? There are no delegations, however, Councillor Capes has a point of privilege that she would like to address.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I wonder if Mr. McCormick could forward the emails that he has sent so that we could see them, because I would appreciate seeing them and responding. And I am responding to an email that was received following our last council meeting and from some concerned citizens, and I misspoke and did not mean to equate legal hunting and recreational shooting with recent criminal activities in Mono. I apologize, as firearm use by residents is distinct from criminal activity. And further, I'd like to notify the public that I am registered to do the PAL licensing course, April 4th to 5th, so that I may better educate myself on the use of firearms and be able to respond better to questions. So thank you to the concerned citizens that sent that email, and I do apologize, and I do retract what I said about connecting these things with criminal activity. They are two distinct and isolated things, so thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Clerk, just to confirm that Councillor Cape's point of privilege will be reflected in the minutes of this meeting?
Yes, they will, Your Worship.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And good
So
morning
the
again.
email that I sent was actually sent to you
Okay.
and to him.
Okay.
And the first email that she asked to be sent to her as a CC, unfortunately, that was actually filled out through your website, so I don't actually have a record of that on my actual email sent list. It is actually sent through your guys' website. But this one right here has been sent to you and you.
I will attempt to find it on my
Okay.
laptop.
Thank you very much. I'm just
Okay,
saying that I
thank you.
have submitted emails, and if you guys aren't getting mine, then you're not probably getting other people's too, that
And
this.
if anyone wants to send an email to the entire council, it's simply council@townofmono.com.
Okay. All right, well, perfect then, because like I said, I've been sending emails and I haven't been getting any response from any of them, so, thank you.
I misspoke. We do have a delegation. And it is scheduled for 9:15, but we'll go ahead. It's the noise bylaw exemption application, Orangeville Fall Fair. And we have a letter from the Agricultural Society. And I'm wondering if there is anyone in the gallery who is going to speak to this. Good morning. Morning. Good morning. If you could just state your name so we have it on the record.
Jen Arnold, 387-517 Mono Center Road.
Matt Patriquin, 217-172 15th line, East Carifraxa.
Okay, so you've read our letter, and then Matt has some additional information he'd like to add.
Yeah, so, just a quick speech, if that's okay, that I've just prepared. My name's Matt. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Good Times Truck and Tractor Pulling Association, and also in support of granting the noise exemption for the annual Orangeville Fall Fair. The fair is more than just an event. It's one of the longest-standing traditions in our community. As of 2026, it'll be in its 172nd year. So that's for almost 2 centuries. It has brought people together across the country, across the county and province. It represents the rural character and heritage that communities like ours were built on and continue to be a part of. Activities like the truck and tractor pull, demolition derby, live music, rodeo, and other fair events naturally are louder than everyday life. However, these are only temporary, limited events and only happen once each year. The community respects the township's noise bylaws the rest of the year, and the Fair Board works as hard as possible to operate responsibly and within reasonable limits. What's important to remember is that the fair is run by almost entirely volunteers who give their time to keep this tradition alive. It also supports the local economy by bringing in visitors who spend money at local businesses throughout the area. The economic impact is estimated between $4.5 and $6 million in revenue brought into the community, along with the exposure and potential to earn for small businesses of all that kind that attend. Without the ability to put on a crowd-drawing shows, the Ag Society will not be able to have these local businesses, to give these local businesses a space to thrive and grow. Granting this exemption is not about ignoring bylaws, it's about recognizing that a 172-year-old, once-a-year community tradition deserves reasonable flexibility, and in this day and age, I personally believe that a sense of community and down-to-earth leisure is what people need. It's important to, council has the opportunity today to show its continued support for volunteers, for the local businesses, and a tradition that has been a part of this community for generations. I think the local community would look very favorably upon that. I respectfully ask that you grant this exemption and allow the fair to continue bringing people together the way it has for nearly 2 centuries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to continue that the sponsorship and the funds raised by the fair is completely supplied by the community. It's our township.
Do members of council have any questions? I have one that, if I could lead off. You indicate that the $500 noise exemption fee would present a significant financial challenge for the organization. Do you have a set of recent financial, do you have financial information, auditor's report or bookkeeper's indication that would demonstrate that, and can we have a copy of it?
Yeah, I can provide that for you.
Okay. And how soon can we see that? Because ultimately, we'll make a decision based on your viability.
Probably by tomorrow, because I'm not in the office today, but I will be back tomorrow.
Councillor Capes?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, thank you for coming to us today. I do have a question related to the event that maybe you can help me with. I always consider the fair, all the local fairs, to be a mini Royal Winter Fair, and we're big fans of the Royal Winter Fair. We go there every year. So I wanted to know, like in your schedule you have, I guess you've posted these because these are the things you want an exemption on, but are there, as part of this event, a farmer's market, livestock shows, ag awareness, educational pieces, award winning for arts and foods and jams? Is that still, and crafts, is that still included in the show?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, great. And you pay out prize money to people who win these prizes in the show?
Yes, we do.
You do? Okay. And also, I think that's the questions that I'll leave for now, but thank you.
No problem. Along with the financial statements, I will be providing you with the schedule of the total fair events.
And if you so would like, I have a petition that's been going on for the past approximately 2 weeks over this issue. Between in-person and online signings, I have just shy of 950 signatures of people interested or in support of the exemption.
Have they indicated where they live?
They are within the area. I've collected phone numbers and email addresses. I haven't collected actual addresses, though.
Okay. Thank you, Fred.
I have to admit that I'm not a great fan of demolition derbies and loud noises at night with those machines that you have there. However, having said that, as you've said, you know, the fair's been going for 172 years. I'm quite prepared to be in favor of granting the exemption, because it is, you know, maybe the one weekend in the year, Mark, when we have to grin and bear it. I'm sorry. The one thing I'm not so sure I can agree to is the waiving of the $500 fee. It's not that I want to be hard on you financially, but when I think of it, correct me if I'm wrong, the Orangeville Agricultural Society, you are charged only the agricultural rate for all of that land, right? And not for all of that land?
No.
The board is tax exempt.
It's not that I'm saying that the hardship is on the agricultural society. You're missing the point. The hardship is on the township that provides the fair for the town. That's the sponsors are paying for that $500. It's coming out of that. It's not coming from the agricultural society.
But
Our
I
fair
don't-
is a different entity from the building.
But I don't think the town of Mono is a sponsor.
No, it's not.
I
So
think
it's
in the past-
our taxpayers, like myself, Jim Morton, everybody who's on there who donates money is paying that $500. Matt's paying that $500. Our membership is paying that $500 to the town that we live in.
Well, I hear that, I'm just.
But we also pay taxes in.
Yeah, but you get a very favorable tax rate, that's my point. And when I look at things like demolition derbies, which is really not an agricultural activity, okay, the intent of the 25 or 27%, agricultural land gets taxed at, I think it's now 27% of the residential tax rate. And I understand that, there's a reason for that. And so if it's agricultural, that's fine. Some of the stuff that goes on at the fair crosses the line of what I think is agricultural. That said, I'm quite prepared to grant the exemption. I'm just not sure I can go along with your request to grant the fee. I do have the one question. I haven't been in the last few years, I confess.
Okay.
Is the Midway not there anymore?
Yeah, it's there.
Because the last time I was there, I had 3 Syrian kids, and I was exhausted by the time I finished chasing them all around the Midway. But anyway, that was a few years ago. So it
Yeah.
is still there.
It is.
Okay.
In 1939 was the first tractor pull switching through and coming through. And then 1961 was the first derby at the Orangeville Fair. So it's been going on for many years.
I understand that. I'm just saying it's not my favorite activity.
Right.
I can almost hear it from my house, which is some kilometers away from the fairgrounds. I know you have to do it to bring in the crowd and make the money, and I'll grant you for one weekend a year, I'm prepared to live with it.
I'd also like to add that most of the people taking part in those activities are farmers. It's farmers and a lot of small businesses that are taking part, whether they're sponsoring people like me. I have a truck I compete all across the province in. I pay everything out of my own pocket because I don't have sponsors, but there are guys who have sponsors, and those local businesses really want to be able to support young guys like me.
I'm saying I'm prepared to live with it for one weekend a year. I'm just saying it's not my favorite type of activity. But you're right, some people like it, and that's okay by me.
Not to cause embarrassment, but the Agricultural Society is exempt 100% from taxes for municipal and school purposes, other than local improvement rates, so long as the proceeds from the rental of the land is used solely for purposes of the society. So the society's purposes are in fact probably in your letters of incorporation, but they're also reflected in provincial legislation. So what the province in its wisdom many years ago said that agricultural societies do such good work, they should be 100% tax exempt. At one point, like Fred, I thought it was you were taxed at the agricultural rate, but in fact, you are tax exempt.
Correct.
Just for clarification, then, that was why one of our residents who brought the attention to say, is the Agricultural Society up to date on their registration and that kind of thing, questioning that. But I think there's, certainly I'm misunderstanding what's going on here, because we brought in a new noise bylaw, and we removed the Orangeville Fair from the bylaw itself, only, on my understanding, was just to have a level playing field for everybody. But at no time ever, I don't think, and this is the first time I'm hearing Fred saying that, maybe we shouldn't even have the fair. I don't think that that was ever a on the table.
I don't think Fred said that.
No, you did. You said you said that you're.
Counselor Davey, I did not say that.
Okay.
Okay.
At any rate, I didn't think that was really, because with the 900 signatures and so on, there clearly is a large worry in the community that the fair won't go on. And the idea that the demolition derby, I've never seen one in an urban setting ever. It's always a rural activity, right? Where you're working on tractors and you're working on cars and fixing your own things and so on. I think they do go together. So the question is really about the time that you've now decided that this event for sure you're requesting for 2026 is going to finish at 11, as opposed to last year we had that after hours thing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just speaking for myself, we removed the blanket exemption the total blanket exemption for the fall fair. And however, in the noise bylaw, we created a mechanism to get an exemption. So in getting an exemption, it's certainly my hope that we can get a handle on the hours. We can get a handle on what you plan to do to minimize the noise, placement of speakers, all the various things that will cause less disruption for neighbors of the fairgrounds. We didn't have that authority when there was a full-scale blanket exemption. So it's not that we're trying to ban these activities. We're trying to get a handle on how much noise they create and the hours that they occur. My first reaction looking at your hours is that in some cases you're starting too late in the day, and I don't see the necessity of necessarily going to 11 p.m. I could be dissuaded on that. One question I have is on Sunday you have 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. live music using amplified speakers. Is that occurring inside the building or outside the building? And similarly with the entertainment from 6 to 10? Because if it's occurring inside the building, there's no problem in my view.
The amplified noise would be outside. It would be on the stage
Okay,
with like singers, bands.
okay.
I would also like to point out that, at least from personal experience, on the Friday night is generally when the truck and tractor pull is held. And if I'm correct, I believe the starting time is 6 p.m.? Yeah, so especially for people like me, I work currently in Vaughan. I got to race from Vaughan. I work all day. I got to race from Vaughan to get home to load my truck and trailer, and then I have to make it out there in time in order to, and there's a lot of people in the same boat, people attending. They all work 9 to 5 on a Friday night. They all, other people competing and stuff, they all work as well. A lot of them have time off, so the starting time can only be pushed forward, I guess, so
That's a good
far.
point you make. Councillor Capes?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I did some checking into local fairs, and I went to Erin and I spoke to the folks there, and they apply every year for a noise exemption to host that fair. So it's not unusual, so I don't think that we should exempt that fee. They're willing to pay the fee for the exemption at the town for Erin's fair. And their fair is actually, their grounds are right in the heart of almost downtown. And so they know that it's noisy, but the people who live there are willing to either leave town for the weekend because they don't like it, or put up with the noise. They have a bigger issue with parking, and they don't have noise complaints, which is very interesting. And so they respect the town's bylaw, and they cease all noise at the town's noise bylaw limit, which is 11 p.m. Ours is not 11 p.m., so if we want to extend it past, it would be past 10 p.m. I guess that's what we would have to do, is extend the hours even beyond what it says in our prohibition times. And they do have a tractor and truck pull, which I'm sure that Matt knows, because he probably is entered in that. And they have a derby, and they even have combine tractors doing their own derby thing. So it is part of a fair. And I think, although I don't live near the grounds, I go there because I like the event. We are an agricultural community, and we need to support agricultural activities. And if part of a fair includes these attractions that bring people out, Erin gets 30,000 people through their fairgrounds. I would like to know the number for how many people come through the Orangeville Fair on a weekend. Do you have that number?
Not offhand, no, sorry. Oh,
I would like to know that.
Between 5 and 7,000.
Five-
Sorry?
Between 5 and 7,000.
Between 5 and 7,000.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, 5 and 7, well, maybe you can get it up to 30, like the, not to set up a competition, but,
I just also like to know, I know the members of the Aaron Fair Board very well, and I compete with a few of them. And the council there, I've never met them personally, but from what I've understand is they have a very vested interest in continuing that fair, whether it's financial reasons, historical, whatever. And I just know offhand that they're very, very, very enthusiastic, like they're all in for continuing it. Now, I don't obviously know the opinions of everyone here in this council, but that's just one of the reasons why they continually can get the exemptions approved.
right, and your worship, if I may, we had never, and I think Councillor Davy said this, never intended to not allow the fair. We just took the blanket exemption out of the bylaw because it didn't belong there. It belongs where it gives everybody the opportunity to come and apply for an exemption, which is exactly what happens in Erin. They go and they apply for an exemption to the noise bylaw. And so that's what we're asking for here. And I talked to people on the board, and I talked to people, counselors in Erin, and they don't have noise complaints. More of the complaints are about traffic and parking. So, it is a one time a year. If we don't like it, we should leave town. If we do like it, then we put up with the noise. I understand that it is the biggest event that gets hosted by the Ag Society, and we never intended to get rid of the fall fair. Fall fairs are integral to the culture. As you've said, 172 years. I do want to go back to the question that was
Elaine,
raised
can I ask you to hold your question? I need to recognize Ralph. He hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Hang on
thank
to your
you.
question. Thank you. Ralph?
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks for coming here today and exposing yourselves. To make it clear, we're very supportive of the fair. I don't know anybody who isn't supportive of it. Fred's lukewarm, but he's supportive. And we're just trying to be able to exert some control because council's responsible to the whole town. And although it's been around for 175 years, it's changed, we've changed, and we have to change with the community. And the biggest issue that we have had here has been noise and the concerns of the local residents being affected by noise. And that's been the only issue I know of. With respect to your schedule, I was a little surprised to see it that it went to 11 o'clock in view of the fact that that sound is a concern. And I'd be supportive of it, but I would like to see the events finished before 11, probably 10 or earlier. I recognize what you say, but we all take time off work and do things to allow ourselves to fit into the events that we want to take care of.
Melinda, and then Elaine.
Thank you. I just wanted also to clarify. So you're before us as the Orangeville Agricultural Society, or are you before us as a separate entity that is the Orangeville Fall Fair?
I think I made that distinction wrong. So we're here as Orangeville Agricultural Society.
Right, so that's what I thought. So my question, we've had we spent a lot of time on the noise bylaw. Everybody knows that. There was months and, in fact, years. So one of the things that we had mused about was that when we took you out of the blanket exemption, that it would open up the door for individual events that you held to be exempted as needed, and perhaps even an agreement with the society for a season or for a couple of seasons of this is what we're going to do. Like it was an open, maybe things could evolve. And so I was a little bit surprised when I saw that, it was great when I saw your delegation here, but then when I see that it's only about the fall fair, because with respect to the $500, my thought would be that if you had come to us with, this is maybe for the future, if you had come to us with we're asking for an exemption for our season for these events, and that would be maybe the $500 fee, as opposed to $500 for each fee, which I could see where you're going with the season having a number of activities and this being the first one to come. It does look like it might be more onerous to come up with, a few thousands. So am I wrong in that? I'm putting that out there, that I thought that those were the discussions we'd had.
I certainly was going to raise the question of apart from the fall fair, your venue is used by renters who also generate noise. And it strikes me that rather than expecting each and every one of them to put down a $500 deposit for a noise exemption, if in fact they create a lot of noise, that we've got to simplify that and maybe have the arrangement between ourselves and the OAS that recognizes that you have in turn renters, and they in turn may or may not make noise. I think as well, if you're every weekend, if you're booked every weekend, it becomes bureaucratically difficult for us at our end to be granting and considering one application after another, and either waiving or imposing the $500. So there's got to be an easier way, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Need a scheduling.
Yeah. And I think that has to be an ongoing discussion between ourselves as to how to approach that.
And a key thing is, the whole reason why we changed our noise bylaw was because, as Councillor Mankdalo says, we're trying to help please, as many people in the town as we can. But the only way to have a bylaw that works is one that is actually enforceable, and that we, in order to enforce it, it's actually the owner of the property that is, right, Fred? It's the owner of the property that is liable when you rent out, right? You're supposed to tell them that they're not supposed to do whatever they're doing, and if they go ahead and do it, it's actually on you.
It would be both the event organizer and the property owner are responsible for abiding by the noise bylaw.
Right, so that would even more, in my mind, that if I were the person who was running the business, that would be more, behoove me to be the person who's really making sure and that the exemption and that the town understands exactly what the person's going to do, so you're able to hold them to it.
And that's why we're having our clients come to you personally with myself, because sometimes they don't think that noise bylaw applies to them. Hence the rodeo last year, going beyond. Even though we had it said they had to stop at a certain time, they still went beyond their time. So I'm having my applicants come to you directly, as we have one already set up for next week, Fred? Yeah, for they're having specific noise, and it's up to all of us to govern that. That's what this bylaw, to me, makes that sense, that you're on the hook as well as I'm on the hook, that we're agreeing to this. So that's why we're doing our clients that way.
And you and I have had the discussion about incorporating language in your rental agreement.
Which we have.
Which you have, and could we get a copy of that as well?
Sure.
You may have provided it to me, I don't know, but.
Well, it's updated since the new bylaw.
Okay.
But in this case, in order to get everybody to understand that there has to be a consequence, they need to come back forward and pay the $500 themselves.
Because at the end of the day, you could walk up to the amplifier and shut it down if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to do that to our clients, but unless they understand, and like the woman that's coming next time, she thinks that there's not this serious. It is serious.
Rather than have a delegation, I think there should be a discussion with her just to the effect that, no, it does apply.
As we would say, we're doing our due diligence by bringing them forward to you.
Yeah.
That's certainly another way to do it. If
That's
you're
our
putting-
business,
you're
that we-
putting them on, except that you are, right, so having them to come, but as long as you're coming too, and that you guys all know that you're
We need this to
liable
change, and this is what we're trying to do. Back in November 24, I said I would work with you guys to make this happen, and I'm trying to make this happen.
Elaine? Elaine?
Thank you. So conversation kind of went in a bunch of directions there. I know in Erin, when they do an exemption, it's for the event. It is not for the entire ag society. And so this,
No.
I interpreted, was an exemption for the fall fair. And that's, I'm willing to look at it as an exemption for the fall fair, not for the ag society, knowing that the fall fair organizing committee would be the ones that pay for the exemption, because they can pay for it out of their expenses, and that the OAS would make sure that anybody who is coming forward to fill out the application for exemption has that exemption and can give it to you to show you that they have it. That's what I would rather see. But I do want to go back to, somebody did raise the question, and I don't know if it was answered. Has the, because I thought this was just the fall fair
It
committee
is.
coming forward.
It
for
is.
exemption.
It
It's
is.
not.
It
It is.
It is.
This is only the
Oh, it is.
Orangeville Fall Fair.
But another issue has been
Okay, thank you.
raised.
Okay,
I'll
so
speak.
then, these questions are actually for the OAS Society, so I will hold them.
Okay. Just before I recognize Fred, our noise bylaw has two provisions. One is for individual exemptions, and the other is a possible agreement that would deal with the issue of noise that would be more than simply, one-offs. So we have the flexibility of doing both. But right here, right now, we're talking about the Orangeville Fall Fair and
right.
the schedule that you've presented to us, and, whether we want to see it further tweaked, maybe some more discussion. I know our clerk has done some investigation of other fall fairs and knows a little bit about things like, and I mentioned it earlier, there was something as simple as the placement of the speakers and the direction that the speakers are sending the amplified noise. That's really critical stuff. Fred?
I was just going to point out, and I guess this is back to OAS, but as an example of the type of thing that could happen, we have made sort of a blanket exemption for Credit Valley Conservation at Island Lake. They weren't always successful, but in the years they were successful, they had a list of the number of, concerts or weddings they were going to have, and they made an agreement that they would monitor the sound around the Vicky Barron Trail. Was it 50 decibels? Something like that. And then they gave us the results, and they kept within that limit. Now, I don't know if that's possible for the OAS. I'm just saying there is an example of sort of rather than a one-off exemption, sort of a blanket agreement with an organization, and it worked, at least it worked in some years with Credit Valley Conservation.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something with the suggestion you guys had made about maybe bringing the end date of the time, like how long the event can run till. Just from my experience, and I can't speak on behalf of the whole organizational aspect, but from my experience, there's a lot of, whether it's depending on what, doesn't really matter what event it is, there's a lot of people that show up to watch, and there's a lot of people that show up to compete. And things take time, and the other thing is people are paying to show up to see a show. So they're going to want to be able to watch as much as they possibly can to get as much, as much as they can out of what they're paying for. So, yeah.
Well,
I want to hear from the public. I don't.
is there anyone else that wants to speak to this, having heard the back and forth? Yeah, if you could come forward to the mic. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
If you could just state your name for the record.
James Orton, 20th Side Road, but I'm also with the Orangeville Agricultural Society. Just to answer your questions about speakers and abatement of sound and whatnot, the speakers that, for the truck and tractor pull and demolition derby are all facing north. They have been for years. which is that, so it faces north towards the buildings, actually, and the Fifth Side Road. Also.
Thank you for that, because that's something that is.
Also, the speakers for the stage face southwest towards the gravel pit. That's why the strategic location of the stage is put on a yearly basis. The other thing is, about 15 years ago, the OAS put in about 6,000 trees for sound abatement on the east and the southwest corner. Now, those trees are maturing quite well now. They're about 12 or 14 feet. So we have been actively addressing the sound issues over the years. But it's only, you always have to have a post-review after every fair to see how you can change and adapt to the future. And as far as was mentioned earlier, I think Ms. Capes mentioned about the ag part of it. We do have the ag education, also the cattle show, the Holstein, which is a point system that does go to the Royal Winter Fair. So, and we have lots of activities, you know, for ag education and whatnot there for it. I just wanted to make those points, that it's, the fair, and it was stated, the fair has been around for a long time, long before me. And at one time, the original fair, it's called the Orangeville Fair now, but it was called the Mono Agricultural Society back in 1854, 58. And when it went to the fairgrounds, it was also called the Deferred Agricultural Society. How it got to Orangeville, I haven't found that data out. However, it's been a part of Mono, or in Mono, since 1854.
Okay.
So it has been a big part of this community for a long time.
So the fair, the old fairgrounds, going far enough back, was in Mono, it wasn't in Orangeville?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I think through history, they changed the name because it was in Orangeville. Because it was also called an exhibition at one time, back in about 1890.
Okay.
So there has been change, but it's always been part of Mono until Orangeville took over part of that fairgrounds. Just
So would, in terms of an exemption, would the OAS have any objection to language about the placement of the speakers? You've undertaken that they are.
We've undertaken that, and we also look at the sound. Now, last year, there was, on the stage, something when it went longer than anticipated. However, you know, after reviewing post-incident, we decided not to have that. That was even before we heard about the complaints.
Okay.
Just because of the fact that it didn't draw the crowds that we wanted to and stuff like that.
Right.
But we're always adapting to see what we can do with that. But the fair, I mean, you know, we got kid zones that we haven't had for years, which is drawing a lot of parents and young kids and stuff like that. So the fair is one of the biggest things, you know, around in the area for that weekend. The difference for the attendance between Erin and Orangeville is the fact that Thanksgiving weekend and everybody comes home for it. That's the difference. And you can, you know, Woodbridge Fair is the same, it draws over 35,000 people. Different fairs that have it on that weekend. We can't change because of conflict with other fairgrounds. Plus, with the demolition derbies and the truck and tractor pull, they go on a circuit.
Yes.
And it's the same as the midways. The midway, ever since COVID, most of the midways have collapsed or merged together. And I would say that probably a third or more of the fairs don't have midways anymore because of COVID and the economy and everything that's going on. So, but again, it's a huge expense to get, they're up to $100,000 to bring in certain midways now that organizations have to pay. So we lay out a lot of money, and we're actually behind schedule right now because we start planning the fair in December of the previous year. And we've got all our people on hold right now, from the truck and tractor pull, demolition derby, and these guys want answers the 1st of February. So we're behind the 8 ball now. And, you know, we've pleaded with them, and they're working with us in anticipation that you will grant the bylaw exemption.
And I can speak on what he said about traveling in a circuit. On behalf of the promoter who puts on the truck and tractor pull, they actually travel from Chatham. And their schedule, we do Friday night in Orangeville, and then we go to Port Perry Saturday night. And then there's a third one, which is up for debate, as far as I know, that might be happening closer to London on Sunday. So they like to make that whole circuit. If Orangeville can't be allowed, that's 6 hours for them one way just to go to Port Perry. Well, it could be affecting other fairs now as well if they can't complete the circuit, so to speak.
So any further questions of council? If I can be so bold as to make a suggestion, I do have a prepared motion here that pretty much follows the request that you've made in writing and what you've said verbally here today. We could go to a vote on that, or we could ask our clerk to have further discussions with you about additional tweaking of the times potentially, and working in language about the sound amplification, location of speakers, that kind of thing, which I think gets us further than when we had a blanket exemption where it could theoretically be a free-for-all. And I think that was the concern of members of council, was with a blanket exemption, it would be potentially a free-for-all. And because that exemption is, that dates from the 1990s, if I'm not mistaken, when the fair was arguably different than it is now. Fred?
Your worship, with respect, I think we have to make a decision today, just given the planning issues that we've heard. They need an answer today to know that they can go ahead with the fair. I hear you about this tweaking aspects. I'm personally not, I'm prepared to go with what they're asking for, okay, and I think we should make that decision today. The only question mark I had was whether we should exempt the $500 fee.
I want to see the financials.
Well, could we pass part of the motion today and leave it?
I mean, we don't want to be, we're not, the goal of all of this was not to hold people up and make things tricky. And it already sounds like it is tricky. And as you were saying about the Friday, it was kind of like, well, there's some other fairs that go, I was thinking, there are other fairs that are on holiday weekends and so on, but not everybody can be on the holiday weekend, right? So this is the weekend, you've always been on it, you're going to be on it this year, and time is ticking. So I think if we're going to quibble over the $500, we should be doing that separately from granting them an exemption that they can get going.
We don't need to make the $500 decision today, I don't think.
Right, that's what I'm, yeah, right.
We can go ahead and.
So let's make a decision that they can go ahead.
Well, let's vote on it, I guess is what we're supposed to do.
Ralph and then Elaine.
So the biggest issue here is whether or not we listen to the community as well. Okay? And that's the issue of noise, and we accept that the fair is going to produce some noise. I personally, I like the fair. I've been to it many times. But I think that we have to fit in with the changing community, and that involves the time factor here. So I'm not prepared to agree to a blanket exemption, which includes the 11 p.m. deadline. I'm not convinced that you can't move things up to at least a 10 p.m. Finish time.
We have one member of the public who put his hand up.
We do have one member of the public, Mr. Darby. Would you like to come forward? Okay, thank you. I've stated your name, but if you could restate your name.
Okay,
Thank
guilty
you.
as charged. First line, East Mono. And if I can do, perhaps there's been a lot of time spent on this delegation so far. If I can just have like two little segments. One is I'd like to supply information to council with respect to what has been presented here by this group, and then I have a prepared statement, if I may.
Very briefly, sir,
Yeah,
because we
okay.
do have to get on.
Yes, okay. But they did get a lot of time. So just to comment on.
They were a scheduled delegation, okay?
Yes, that's
They
true.
were a
So
scheduled delegation.
I
so
agree. This
it's
is.
a little different.
Okay. They haven't been 2 centuries in Mono. They have been in Orangeville. They're the Orangeville Agricultural Society. How many of the 900 people who want this are not profiting, that with respect to the petition, are not profiting or live in Mono? Noise inside the building, often when the doors are open, is as loud as is when it's outside. And how many of these one-time events, and I think you're going to address that, are going to be applied for? Because we say, oh yeah, this is just a one-time event, but if we have 40 one-time events, that's all year. I actually take offense to Councillor Capes' comment that if you don't like it, you can leave town. I don't think that's appropriate. And I don't think there's any agreed upon scientific evidence that these there's noise abatement, major noise abatement by the trees. Okay, and then that's just my little part. And I would like to actually express my final solution. So if I'm running out of time and the hook is coming out, Mr. Mayor, please let me know and I'll.
Okay.
But this is like 4 minutes, if I may.
Well, let's move along.
Okay, yes, I will. Okay, well, thank you.
Preface.
And just reading the exemption request, and as a 36-year resident of Mono and an active farmer, I have nothing against any fall fairs, but strongly am adamant that no one has the right to force or dump any pollution into any environment or onto other people's properties where it's not wanted. Seeing all the people here, there's two real groups here. There's Mono residents who want to protect the environment and their right to enjoy their property, and then there's people who want to come in here, have noise events, and make money. So, you know, we have to strike a balance there. The Orangeville Agricultural Society moved into our Mono neighborhood and into the Island Lake Conservation Area, initially as a non-intrusive, non-polluting agricultural society, and that quickly spiraled out of control when they realized that they could make lots of money by unilaterally deciding to rebrand as these tractor pull and high-volume noise pollution events. And they're hammering black smoke, ear-shattering, excessively loud noise and air pollution events into our neighborhoods and conservation area. Mono taxpayers have paid millions of extra dollars to subsidize these shortfalls under Section 15 of the OHAO Act that states agricultural societies are required to submit financial information on an annual basis. And the OAS, or these people, have been in violation of that statute for 7 to 10 years. So I think we really should have that information made available before any decision is made, because Mono is out many millions of dollars. How is it possible that this tax society can treat our town like it's their own personal noise garbage dump by running these environmentally and harmful pollution entertainment? They're entertainment events. And who knows who stuffs unknown dollars into unknown pockets?
Mr. Darby, let's be
Okay.
respectful.
Okay,
I
well,
think,
there is money being made and we
Okay.
don't know where it's going, if I can say that.
let's
Inso-
put it this way. The provincial legislation does require filing of financial information and other information.
Yes.
On an annual basis.
Yes.
And there has been the allegation that the society has fallen behind.
Yes.
In that regard. However, I've been told reliably that they are making best efforts to catch up.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just, as long as council's happy that efforts are being made, because this information should be public. So I'm gonna wind it up right here, and I'm gonna offer a solution. So to protect Mono residents and our precious environment, can we either please send the Orangeville Unnecessary Noise and Smoke Pollution Entertainment Center back to Orangeville, or just identify exactly which persons in which neighborhoods and towns are actually in favor of having these events in their neighborhood where it's outside a conservation area so that they can be held on those properties. So knowing that the Orangeville Agricultural Center has not supplied the required information, I request that the town not approve any of this until all the financial information and some mitigation type of information and efforts are made to minimize the effect on the local people, because I don't think anybody here wants that kind of noise pounded into their neighborhood unwanted. So, and here's my conclusion: if the fair absolutely needs to run these super loud events, they're environmentally disruptive, unnecessary, entertainment, noise pollution, then my opinion is we no longer need the Orangeville Agricultural Noise Event Center running in Mono.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Mr. Darby, I think you wrote to us over the weekend indicating that you attempted to join the OAS. That's correct. And,
Do you understand why we wouldn't accept you as a member, sir?
and I'm hearing a comment about why they didn't accept you as a member. But in your defense, the act governing agricultural and horticultural societies states as follows: any person may join an agricultural society by paying the annual fee set out in a bylaw of the society, but no person under the age of 18 years is eligible to vote at meetings of the society. So I'll
Okay.
just
Yeah,
leave
thank-
that for you folks to sort out amongst yourselves.
I am over 18, and,
No kidding.
yeah, I know
Anyway.
that. But I know that I think I was personally not allowed to, or
Yeah,
disinvited because.
Let's not make too big a deal out of it. I just
Okay.
wanted to indicate to you that under legislation, you do have a right to join.
Yes, thank you for that. And I just want financial, transparency.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So,
If I may, Your Worship, I'd like to address something that Mr. Darby said.
yes,
I was iterating the sentiment from Aaron about people either leave town because they don't like the noise, or they stay and they enjoy the fair. So I just want to make that clear.
okay. I do have a motion that I'm going to read. I'm going to offer a friendly amendment to it. That we approve the issuance of a noise exemption permit pursuant to Bylaw 2026-8, noise bylaw, to the Orangeville Agricultural Society to hold the 2026 Orangeville Fall Fair at the Orangeville Fairgrounds on September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2026, and that the permit shall be conditional on all terms detailed in the permit, including but not limited to the use of amplified sound shall end by 11 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and 10 p.m. on Sunday. Second, provide the town with a phone number from the on-site event organizer who will be responsible to make any adjustments to sound levels as directed by Mono's bylaw enforcement officer. And my friendly amendment for consideration of the mover and seconder would be something to the effect of, and any other reasonable requirements as determined by the clerk. Now, I open that up because in Orangeville and some other municipalities, it is in fact staff who approve the exemptions to their noise bylaws. So I'd like to see a dialogue continue between the OAS and our staff on possibly wordings that make this a little bit more defined. That's the purpose of my amendment.
Well,
Go ahead.
Your Worship, I would gladly move that motion, but then I would have one question. Shouldn't there also be a condition in there about the issue of the permit fee being decided at some subsequent date? So that
Yeah.
at least we leave that question open. Would that be acceptable?
Fred, I think you've got the sense from council that we don't want to make a decision on the $500 today.
Excuse me, may I speak?
Yeah.
You know what, we'll just abolish that, I'll still provide you with.
No, you've made the request, and I think it's a fair one, and we can address it later.
So
Your
what is,
Worship, if I may?
Just Fred and then Elaine.
so
Thank you.
what is council's wish? Do you want the issuing of a permit held until council decides on the application fee?
No.
So we're going to issue the permit
Issue the
and
permit.
then perhaps retroactively
Yes.
demand a
Yes.
fee after the permit's been issued?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay?
If I may.
Elaine?
I don't agree with that. The application made comes with, pay the fee for us to process this application. So I believe we should be charging the application fee as part of this process. So it doesn't make sense to me to waive that fee at all. It's part of doing business. You want an exemption, you apply for it. In applying, you pay the application to get an exemption as part of that whole process.
Fred, and then Ralph.
So, Your Worship, from a staff perspective, obviously, there's time incurred and a cost to that, but from the applicant's perspective, staff has made this recommendation to council to waive the fees for those events that were already booked. So many of these things are booked for 2026. So the financials have been organized by these event organizers, and that's the reason where I've been accepting the applications without fees for these initial events.
So anything that, and I think the OAS should provide a list to our clerk of events that have been booked. A rental agreement has been signed because you're hearing, I believe, that we would not charge a fee on those, that's all water under the bridge.
It's just the budgeting for the fair, we didn't budget for the $500.
Yeah.
That's why I was
But
having
I'm,
down at 20.
yeah, okay,
Which is his point.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly,
Which includes this Orangeville Fall Fair.
yeah.
So the fees, it's not a discussion point.
Doesn't appear to be a point of discussion any longer.
So I have a friendly amendment.
Yes.
Um,
We
my-
don't have a mover and seconder yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Fred Nix moves, seconded by
Your motion?
Councillor Davy.
So, Your Worship, is council waiving the fee then, or are you sticking with you're not charging it now, but may down the road?
Well, I think we heard from you that are scheduled already.
May I suggest you put that in the resolution?
Well, the motion itself doesn't speak to the issue of the fee as it now
Agreed.
stands.
So I'm suggesting you add a fourth bullet
Okay.
and that the application fee is waived.
And the application fee be waived, okay? And those on council who may take a different point of view on the fee, we can separate that out and vote on that separately.
As the mover of the motion, I'll accept the amendment. It's friendly.
Okay. And that was seconded by Councillor Davy. Ralph?
So, Your Honor, I'm not sure whether you consider this a friendly amendment or not, but in light of what I've previously mentioned, my friendly amendment is that the events on Friday and Saturday would conclude at 10 p.m.
Is that contrary to the
I'm not going to,
spirit of the motion?
as the mover of the motion,
That's up
I'm
to
not
the
accepting that as a friendly amendment.
Okay.
Me neither. I think
Unfriendly.
11 is reasonable.
And we have to vote on the amendment if there's a seconder.
Yeah, you'd have to move that as an amendment if I don't accept it as a friendly one.
Okay, so is there a seconder
If
to
it
Ralph's
helps, the
motion?
Erin Fair goes to 11 p.m.
Okay. So we're looking for a seconder on
Move it
this?
as a motion.
I don't see a seconder emerging. All right. What about the,
Could you-
what about
Could you
the,
read the motion? Now I don't know what the motion says.
okay. So the motion is
Thank
that
you.
we approve the issuance of a noise exemption permit, that the permit shall be conditional to all terms detailed in the permit, including but not limited to, the use of amplified sound shall end by 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, 10 p.m. on Sunday. To provide the town with a phone number for the on-site event organizer, who will be responsible to make any adjustments to sound levels as directed by Mono's bylaw enforcement officer.
And then there was going to be another clause.
And there was going to be another clause, and other reasonable conditions as determined by the town clerk. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, Your Worship, what I've got written down for the third bullet, and that other reasonable requirements as determined by the clerk, and item 4, and that the application fee is waived.
And that the application fee is waived?
Yes,
Okay.
that was what I moved.
So Elena, are you all right with that? I mean, you may vote against it, but you've heard the motion? You're on mute?
Can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm not okay with waiving the application fee.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's going to be.
So
You
let's.
vote against the
let's-
motion.
Well, move to separate. I mean, there's a possibility of that. Okay.
Yeah, so your worship, you've got two options. You can have a motion moved and seconded to amend the main motion, or as you suggested, your worship, a motion to separate the main motion into parts.
What's the wish of council?
Well, either one just needs a mover and seconder.
Well, any member can move an amendment, and if Councillor Capes wants to move an amendment that the fee not be waived,
Then that mucks up the,
well, I
then
know.
that mucks up the full thing, right? So,
I'd like to move that we separate the two items, the issue of the
Okay.
permit and the charging of the application fee.
Is there a seconder to that motion? I'm going to second it as a matter of courtesy so that we can have a clear vote on that. So calling the amendment first, the amendment is to,
Separate.
it's basically to separate, and the matter on the floor is the $500 fee, and,
Fred has his hand up.
yeah, Fred, sorry.
So if I can just get
Maybe you can
a
give me a
call on the
wording.
motion. So first of all, your worship, I need a vote on the motion to separate into parts.
Okay, this is just a motion to separate.
Correct?
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is lost. Motion to separate is lost. So we go back to the main motion.
That is
Which
correct,
includes
your
waiving
worship.
the fee.
So the main motion as read, if anyone on council would like me to reread that motion, I will.
Please do.
It's been moved and seconded and ready to
So that
vote.
we're clear.
Call the question.
Yeah.
he wants you to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
the
then we'll
motion
vote.
on the floor, moved by Deputy Mayor Nick, seconded by Councillor Davy, is that we approve the issuance of a noise exemption permit pursuant to Bylaw 2026-8, noise bylaw, to the Orangeville Agricultural Society to hold the 2026 Orangeville Fall Fair at the Orangeville Fairgrounds on September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2026, and that the permit shall be conditional to all terms detailed in the permit, including but not limited to the use of amplified sound shall end by 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, 10 p.m. on Sunday. Provide the town with the phone number of the on-site event organizer who will be responsible to make any adjustments to sound levels as directed by Mono's bylaw enforcement officer, and any other reasonable requirements as determined by the clerk, and that the application fee shall be waived.
That's right, that's the motion.
Okay.
Let's vote on it.
So I'm going to call the question. Those in favor? Any opposed?
I'm in favor, but I am not happy about the fee being included. Just let me put that on the record.
All right, fair enough. Motion carries. Thank you.
In favor, but not happy. We've been an hour on this.
Okay, let's have a 10-minute break.
Okay, Andrew, we're going to go into recess, please.
Okay,
We're back live.
thank you. Next item on the agenda is unfinished council business, the incredible shrinking list. Anyone with any issues? Looks like we're a go on that. Next item on the agenda is town hall topics. Who wants to lead off on that? And we have representatives of Citizens Coalition here today. Go ahead, Fred.
I know there's going to be a debate about this because I've seen some email traffic. I have no problems with the suggestion that Barbara made. I had sort of a question about how relevant that topic was, but I'm quite prepared to accept that speaker. Anyway, I know there's some people that have different views, so I'll just sit back and I'll go with the flow.
Any other thoughts?
Let's hear from them. We'd like to hear about the speaker.
Barbara, could we hear a little bit about the speaker and whether they've been told that we need relevance?
Well, she did give us a link, which I read about this person.
I know, but if it's like the last speaker that we had, it was sort of a canned kind of presentation that he could have delivered in any community anywhere. So I think we're looking for some understanding that he's in Mono and there's relevance. Go ahead.
Well, just to start, I'm Barbara Jafflis, and I sit on the board of MC2. And when we were asked to co-host the town hall, we were delighted to do so. Of course, last speaker we found him. He was excellent. This speaker, I think, is very pertinent. I did an awful lot of digging. I have I guess a dossier of potential speakers that live in Mono that aren't available on that particular day. And then I got to thinking that since April the 18th is very close to Earth Day, we needed someone who could talk on environmental issues. And in my estimation, and I've done a paragraph which I won't read to you, but water is so important. The headwaters is so important to this community. We've got an excellent speaker. Stephen is going to discuss or explain to you what he's heard with Mr. McCown, excuse me. And I think the topic is very timely. The presentation he's made in the past has been understandable, can I say this? It addresses all levels of experience. And right now, I think with what's going on with the water at the provincial level, and never mind just the provincial level, the federal level as well, plus the fact that you've got a climate change committee, and I checked their up-and-coming agenda, and one of the issues that was presented by Councillor Nix is Section 15. Water is an issue that is of importance to the committee. So I think we're very timely. And the only other alternative would be to change the date of April 18th, which we can't do because if we get into May, that would give the members of council that are planning on running for re-election an unfair advantage to talk to the general community. So I suggest we stay with the 18th. And I highly suggest that we go with Andrew McKenna, the Ontario Headwaters Institute, because it's a reputable organization. And I'm going to turn this now over to Stephen, who's going to talk a bit. By the way, we did discuss this at our board meeting, and I'm a little bit dismissed that the fact that after asking us to do the work on this, then you have a problem with what our suggestion. No? All right, well, here's Stephen.
Thank you. Actually, I was just in the process of starting a discussion with Andrew when we decided we'd better wait and hear what we were going to hear today and get the decision on his presentation. I first met him when I was looking for help to find people who could help me understand how I should investigate and research the Strata Quarry application in Melanchthon. And he is the one that connected with me to most of the people that I now still talk to about the various aspects of quarrying and the effects on water and such. So he was very helpful to me there. This first time I met him in person was actually recently, the Ontario Headwaters Institute Water Guardians Award Night, which some of you have seen the article on. So they presented awards for people who had made outstanding contributions to their communities in the area of protecting water and the environment. He will be talking about water. Water is the source of life on the planet, and water, basically, his theme is water is life, let's act like it. He will be talking about how you can translate that into actions at a local level to protect water systems. And his view of water systems is total water systems from the headwaters to the lakes. They're a single system. For many, many years as a society, we've looked at them as things to be got around when you have to build roads and hardscape places, and we don't look at the total system, so we end up with features of watersheds left in certain places as we develop around them. And basically, we need to reassess how we value water. So water right now is valued, this is my opinion, not his, I haven't asked him, but I think water and agricultural land is valued less than gravel at this point in time. The only way we have a value of putting a value to the services that aquifers give to us in water is to estimate their weight in tons of gravel.
So
Andrew has some breakdown of the worth of water systems, what they actually contribute to our communities and our towns in terms of monetary value of what a pure water system actually brings. If you had to replace it with something else, what would it cost you? And I will also be looking at what actions at the local level in terms of the integration of planning and watershed management would make sense and make improvements at the local level. I can give him input from the council about what you would like.
I think the concern is that some local examples, some recognition that we are a unique headwaters in as much as the number of rivers that originate within hailing distance of this building. Just in defense of the idea of a speaker at all, and the question did arise, why do we need a speaker? And that is, I think two hours of open mic can sometimes be a crashing bore if people don't have the questions. And I think it just breaks up the morning a little bit, provided it doesn't go on too long, because the second part of it is
we're looking at like a 15-minute, I believe.
It's the open mic, and that's to give everybody a chance to raise whatever issues
We
they
haven't
want.
approved our draft agenda, but I did make 10 copies, and I'm suggesting that Andrew speaks for 15 minutes, followed by questions and answers. And that would bring us to about 10:15, where we'd break for coffee, and then we'd go into the council presentation. This worked very well last May, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work again.
Okay. Fred first, Ralph, and then Melinda.
I have no problem with this person as a speaker. My concern was when you said he's going to relate the issue of water management and land use planning, I had a big question mark in my mind, is what is it that he could tell Mono that we should be doing that we're not doing? Because the big issues on that subject, and I'm not sure, I read the article you referred to, I would like him to address the big issues. One, should we consolidate the conservation authorities? They're our main guard of a lot of aspects with respect to water. Should we agree with the provincial government's change in the rules now that we only can have a 30-meter buffer between a provincially significant wetland and development? It used to be 90, 120 meters. I mean, it's issues like that. And by the way, I mean, sure, he can tell us all he wants about the value of gravel versus water. We know that stuff, and maybe the audience, by the way, the last two gravel applications that we fought and were successful in Mono, we did keep them X meters above the water table. I forget. They tried to go into the water table, and we kept, but, so my concern, it's not that I'm against the speaker, Barbara, is I would like some real meaty issues addressed, not some generalities about the value of gravel versus the value of water. That might be interesting. It might be worth half a sentence.
Okay, but that's my generality, not necessarily
I
Andrew's.
understand
I think you've made your point.
All right.
And
Here's the hook.
I'm going to
Here we
go
go.
on to Ralph, but let me just say, this isn't a presentation to council. This is a presentation to the community.
Yes.
And we just happen to be at this table, okay? So this isn't for our benefit. This is for the benefit of the people who show up, who may not know all these things and may not know what the province is doing with conservation authorities. And they deserve to know.
Okay, so I can talk to him. I know his position on that because he has actually put out, he had an input to the consultation period, which called on the government to pause what they were doing and actually have a green paper process to get proper input from the people in the
Good luck
province
with
and
that.
experts, so.
Ralph?
So I think it's important that we have a subject matter and a title which pulls people in. And as much as I'm interested in planning and watershed management policy, the average person is not.
May I stop you there? When I was sent around the first suggestion, I really didn't include that as the end result topic. We have not come up with, and I'm sure with Fred's input, and I'm assuming Stephen's taken note of it, we can make this important enough to the people of Mono to turn up. The important thing is we need an audience, and we're prepared to do our mailings and what have you, but time is of an essence. When I initially met with Fred, we were told that we had the deadline of March the 3rd, so please forgive me if I've been too vague on the topic.
Barbara, could I finish, please? You interrupted me, and I wanted to give you some information about what would be the topic, sort of thing. It needs to be a topic that will draw people in. It needs to be something they're interested in. They're not interested in the things that Fred has talked about, what's happening to the conservation authorities coming under 7 agencies. They don't understand that because they're not involved in it. But they are involved with their own wells. Everybody in Mona is on a well. It may be a community well or it may be individual wells. And they all probably most of us don't understand what's going on under the ground where we either have a drilled well or we have a dug well, and what the implications are of things like when we spill a gasoline on it or we have salt on the road and things like that. What we'd like a little bit of, shall we say, Coles Notes 101 on aquifers. Simply what's going on under there when we drill a hole and we put our pipe down there and we extract water, and then somebody comes along beside us, like we had recently, I won't pick on them, but the Mona Center Brewing, they were going to extract water. Is that going to be a big issue for the people next door? They all thought it was, but it really wasn't. Just it's a lack of knowledge on the basic things like that. So I'd stay away from planning or policy or anything that's like that.
Thank you. Good input.
I'm quite encouraged by the subject. It's one of my favorite subjects, actually, but I'd like it to be targeted towards answering questions that the average person would have about their water supply.
Linda?
Thank you. Yeah, I know that we invited you to, or asked you to do this with us, but I feel last year and this year in the conversation so far, I'm feeling like it is an MC squared event and I'm just a guest at it, as opposed to this. And in fact, the way we had it set up last year, we were behind the speaker, in fact, and it just seemed all very not what I had pictured a town hall was, that the people who can't come on Tuesday mornings, who don't know how to work the whatever, to watch our events later and have questions, or that I didn't know about this, that, and the other, an opportunity for them to come out on a Saturday and really ask us. And yes, I was picturing maybe like the all candidates type of thing, in that it is really ask us anything, but I really wanted it to be driven by the residents. And I appreciate that there's this, well, we need to have some pull to bring them in, and so I really echo Ralph's comments on on the water, because then that could actually put us up for questions that the population may have about this, the ones who are on our communal wells, who we have a new recent water study that shows that all that costs a whole lot of money, and they're going to have to pay for it, and they didn't understand, and those kinds of things. That could segue, talk like that could segue into a lot of questions about that. But we also had other things that we were wanting maybe to really give the people an opportunity to talk about or to get their input on, like that. We talked about the ward system, and like we, so a 15 minutes is max, because like I say, it kind of turned into an MC squared event last year. I didn't feel like we were really, like that the people who were drawn here were the ones that I needed to see. The ones that came were people who know what you guys do and are interested in learning from you.
There was a very robust and lively question period from the public after, which had nothing to do with the presenter. That did happen quite.
It did get going. You're right. You're absolutely
And
right.
I've been to many of these, and I have never seen an occasion when somebody's been turned away from a mic because, we're at 12 o'clock and we have to close everything down. The beauty of them is that everybody gets a chance to ask a question and debate. I'll defend MC squared to the extent that you have a history of putting these on, both in Mulmer and now in Mono. And I'd prefer, frankly, that it be organically run as opposed to looking like a council meeting where the mayor is chairing a public meeting. I've always felt awkward in that capacity. I'm far happier to sit back and allow somebody else to recognize speakers, somebody else to raise issues. And maybe what we need to do is provide your moderator with a list of topics that if the lineup behind the mic isn't sufficient, they can throw in a question to council.
That would be useful,
all of
although
council,
I
not
recall
somebody
last year we didn't have any, we had more problems with too many people in the lineup towards the end of the time. So yes, it was quite lively.
And last year, we had a list of questions which
did.
were never used.
Okay.
But yes, it is good to have it.
We were prepared, well prepared. But I think the bottom line is whether or not you want a speaker, and I think in order to, if we put out a flyer saying, come and meet your council, they'll say, well, we can watch on Tuesday, and what do you do? And on a nice Saturday in April, I'm not coming, So hopefully our speaker did draw quite a crowd last time.
Never wanted for a good turnout, frankly, I don't think. Elaine?
Thank you. And thank you, Barbara and Stephen, for being here. I have to sort of reiterate some of what Councillor Davey has said. The idea of a town hall is to bring people out, similar to an all candidates meeting, for people to be able to ask questions so that we can respond to what's on people's minds. And that's what MC Squared used to do. Don McFarland used to facilitate those conversations. There wasn't a guest speaker. It was that everybody came out and they knew that Don was gonna, ask some tough questions, and he was gonna allow the audience to ask tough questions, and he would facilitate the meeting. And I agree. I think we should let our mayor be part of the conversation instead of having to worry about facilitating it. So I think that's the benefit that this brings. Topics that people are really talking about and asking us questions about are our whole engagement process and about our bylaws and our bylaw enforcement. So those are things that have come up and come up and come up. So those are topics that I see are really good. So I need to know that the reason there's a speaker being suggested is that this person is going to draw the crowd. Like it's somebody who will be the attraction to get people to come out, provide a little bit of education, and I like what Councillor Manklow was saying, make it relevant to the citizens of Mono. Not big, high-level conversation about water and what it's worth, but right down where the water hits the ground. So make it relevant to people who live here so that they want to come out and hear something. And I think that's the value of having a subject matter expert come with a relevant topic for the citizens to actually attract the audience, but it's not the meeting. It is part of, it is the attraction, and I like what you said about having a 15-minute presentation and a few minutes to ask questions and answers, but the rest of the meeting would be a facilitated conversation from the citizens, like letting them ask the questions and then having somebody facilitate how those questions get answered, like by saying, okay, which counselor wants to address this, or do you all want to address this, and letting people respond. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
So,
Just one more point. Don McFarland has agreed to facilitate the meeting.
Same as last year.
I'm,
Same character.
for
I'm
myself,
sorry?
I'm not worried, okay? I'm not worried. I show up, and I'm happy not to be center of attraction.
Should we consider rearranging the furniture?
What do you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know. Moving it away so that
Well,
the
we
lawn's
have,
just sitting in the middle.
we're sort of stuck with the mic and
With
and
the
the and the
phones.
cameras as well.
Or the
Yeah.
cameras. Because that's the whole reason why we're doing it here and on a Saturday and all that, is that it is live and filmed too, right?
It's recorded.
Recorded.
It's not broadcast
not
live,
broadcast
but it's
live.
recorded.
It's recorded.
Okay, and that's why, and yes, we're limited on how we can rearrange the room to facilitate that.
Maybe our presenter can take a place so that they can be seen, as opposed to the back of their heads being seen.
Well, he wanted to be using the screen?
Well, and
That
they
makes a
could,
difference.
they could sit over at the staff table where there is a camera.
Well, last time he used the microphone and was able to wander around, but in all honesty, he was addressing the audience, which is really what he's here to
Actually,
do.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. So are we comfortable with?
We can work out those details, but I think that's a good.
So, are we comfortable, folks?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I will bring your comments and input to the speaker and have a discussion with him, and well, I can report back on that discussion if someone would like to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, as a property owner in Mono, I have the question, what happens when my well goes dry?
Yeah.
And what causes that? Is it the Melanchthon quarry that could cause that? What happens when my stream goes dry? I mean, it's
And why is the
top of
council
mind.
concerned about having arsenic in one of the wells?
Why do we have a water quantity threat in our Cardinal Woods wells? Why-
And what happens when people bring in tons and tons and tons of fill, and you don't know where it's coming from, and it all, your property's downhill from it?
Well, we have a fill bylaw to control that. We have a water quantity threat in our Cardinal Woods wells. And we've just done a major study on that issue, which I would imagine would be of some interest to the people who live in Cardinal Woods.
So the bottom line there is that everybody thinks that we're rich in water, when in fact, we are challenged depending on where you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is one of our main barriers in getting action taken to preserve the water, because we think we have an endless supply.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate.
We are very fortunate, but that could change. It is changing.
Okay. We cool?
So can I assume that we can go ahead with Andrew? Secondly, we do have the comments that everyone has made, if they could forward them to me, and I'll forward them to Stephen, just send me a quick email point form, and we'll work that on it, and then we'll work out perhaps a catchy topic that we can draw the residents in. It is urgent because we do have to get all of these notices out. I know that we have to meet Mono's newsletter, and we certainly have to meet MC2. Our newsletter deadline is the 15th of the month, of each month. And we will certainly circulate this to all of those, and perhaps we'll also put an ad in the Echo as well, the Creemore Echo. And I understand that Mono is going to run 2 ads for us in the local newspaper as well.
Yeah, we'll do a similar advertising campaign as last time. That will include print media.
We ran off posters and put them in every community bulletin board within Orangeville and Mono, the libraries, et cetera, last time. So it was quite a bit of work. So if you could get your comments to me, that would be great.
Okay.
One final question, if I might. The water quantity threat, you mentioned there's a report?
Well, I don't know if he wants to get into the weeds of the report, but just, I think people would find it interesting that,
Yes.
that there are challenges out there, because most people would say, hey, you're the headwaters of 4 rivers, and there's water everywhere. Well, it's not.
Could I get some more information on that?
Sure, and with being a little afraid of the hook coming out again, the relation to the planning issue there is Orangeville has to plan under the provincial guidelines under our municipal comprehensive review study for 7,000 more people in the next 30 years, and all of their wells are under the same aquifer as our Cardinal Woods wells, and we have a water quantity threat. And my question is, hold it, we're already stressing the Guelph Annabelle aquifer now. It's not that we're running out of water tomorrow, but we're stressing that aquifer. And we're going to have to plan for 7,000 more people in Orangeville, plus some potential developments in Mono, which might hook up to that aquifer. That's my concern.
Okay.
Yes, Elaine?
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to go back to something Councillor Davey said. This is a Town of Mono town hall. This is not, so I don't think you should go to the expense of doing all of your posters and things like that and ads in the Echo. We should allow the town to advertise this through all of our processes for getting information out to the community, because it's not for us to attract people from all over the place. It is to make sure we get Mono residents out. So that's not an MC squared job, which I appreciate you're going to put it in the MC squared newsletter, but I do believe it is how we put this out is through our communication channels. And so that will alleviate some of the work from your shoulders, and we'll script what goes out with, I think, adding your speaker information and the topic that he will speak on. That's my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the advanced voting polls, and we have a report from the clerk on the municipal election establishing a voting period. Fred, would you like to summarize?
So as council knows, they've already authorized the use of alternate voting methods, specifically internet and telephone, for the upcoming municipal election. This will be the 3rd time that we've done that. And as part of that process, we have advance polls. We use the term advance polls, doesn't completely apply for internet voting. We have an advance voting period, and I'm proposing the same period as we've used in the last 2 elections, which is the Friday, 10 days prior to voting day, and it's open continuous without break until the close of voting on 8 p.m. on voting day.
Questions, comments? I think we're good for it. I have a motion that we introduce and give the necessary readings to a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-43 being a bylaw to authorize voting by internet and telephone during the 2026 municipal election, that it be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and engrossed in the bylaw book. Moved by Councillor Capes, seconded by Councillor Manctalo. Any opposition? Seeing none, motion carries. And we have the restricted acts in a municipal election year. Fred, this is standard stuff.
Again, standard stuff. Council might be getting the idea that the election's coming up and the clerk's office is working towards making sure that occurs. The details on what exactly the term lame duck means and how they apply are all in my report. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We're looking for council to pass a bylaw to delegate those actions that can legally be delegated to the CAO in the event that council is lame duck in either or both of the two lame duck periods.
Any questions? I have a motion that we introduce and give the necessary readings to a bylaw to delegate authority to the CAO pursuant to Section 275 of the Municipal Act 2001, that it be signed by the mayor and clerk for the town of Mono, sealed and engrossed in the bylaw book. Moving that, Deputy Mayor moves, seconded by Councillor Capes. Any opposition? And that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a proposed election sign bylaw. Right?
So this is new for council. Again, my report outlines why I'm making a recommendation. We do not have an election sign bylaw. Our sign bylaw doesn't speak to election signs whatsoever, though it does mention them. It doesn't give any rules or regulations. I'm proposing this bylaw. This bylaw is going to be very similar to what Orangeville Council is also reviewing. And this will give the town the ability to set some rules and regulations for election signs.
Thank you. Councillor Capes?
Thank you. I think this is great. This is a really good thing to do. And I wonder if we could put the detail under the technical specs so people don't have to go find them somewhere else. So in terms of the size, you know, the height, the size, and that there is no illumination, not that anybody can afford to do illuminated signs for council, running for council, but still, put it right in the bylaw so that it's clear, so that people see it, and they don't have to go look somewhere else, because I don't think it's in there.
Fred?
So it is in the bylaw, Councillor Capes, the maximum size and the maximum height, and then everything from this bylaw will be included in the clerk's election procedures and part of the package that all candidates and third-party advertisers receive. So the bylaw specifically
Sorry, Fred, thank you, help me. Where is the size exactly? Because I see...
1.5 square meters is the max size, and 2 meters is, at the top of the sign, is the max elevation.
But I don't see the actual size.
4.1F.
Ralph?
Where is that in the bylaw?
No
Susan,
person
thank you.
shall.
4.1F.
Well, I guess it's inevitable, but I'm disappointed to see this,
Me too.
because we've had
Sorry,
a,
where is it specified?
Okay, so Article 4.1, so that's general provisions, 4.1, and then it's bullet F for the max height and the max size.
are you happy, Elaine?
Those are big signs, holy shit.
I'll go on if you're happy.
They're big signs.
What?
They're bigger signs than we have for real estate.
Oh, is that 4F, 4.1F?
could ask a question.
Greater than
Yes.
1.5 meters squared in area or greater than 2 meters in height? Is that what I'm looking for?
Yep.
I'd like to continue, Your Honor.
Go ahead, yes, please.
So I'm disappointed to see this, because previously we had a fairly sign-free municipality, not
I
entirely.
don't seem to have any sound. so
Elaine,
I don't know if you're
Elaine, I have the
hearing me
floor.
or-
Can't you hear? Okay.
I've lost
Maybe speak
sound.
closer to the microphone, Ralph. Try again.
Can you hear me, Elaine? You there, Elaine? Can you get her?
I think they're on mute.
No, Elaine's mic
Oh, the
is,
town is on mute. Yes, you're right.
Andrew, could you chat?
Town of Mono is on mute.
Andrew, could you chat with Elaine Capes, please?
Why are we muted? He said that he lost.
I got a message that there was a poor connection, so I'm wondering if they lost the connection.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
Because I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, and it
I-
happened earlier, too.
Yeah, it happened to me as well. Yeah.
Okay.
They're still connected, so I don't know what's going on.
So,
I just like to
and-
listen in while I'm doing my barn work and everything.
Andrew's looking into-
So I listen to this.
Andrew's looking into audio if there's an issue at our end or if it's at the other end.
do
There
we,
we go. Now can you hear? No?
can you hear
Here
us
now, Elaine?
Okay, so for some reason, the town of Mono was muted.
No?
Yeah, it's been fixed, I think.
Okay. So can we just confirm, Councillor Capes, can you hear us and can you respond so we know we can hear you?
She can't.
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Your worship, over to you.
Ralph.
Well, I think I've had a chance to repeat this 3 times, so I make my point next time. Hasn't been heard by everyone. So I'm disappointed because I don't share the thinking within this document of the importance of signs in the municipal election, and they certainly mess up the landscape. And we've had an agreement, I think it was been an understanding, if you'd like, that councillors would not put signs out. And that's been pretty well followed by most people. I think at one time that was the mayors were allowed to put a sign up, but you haven't needed to. So I'm a bit
Well, I
disappointed.
did the first time already.
I'm disappointed to see this. I think it's maybe inevitable. But if we're going to have it, a sign which is 1.5 meters square, that's huge. That's 1.5 meters wide and a meter tall. Now are you sure the sign is?
It is remember, that's square, 1.5 square meters, so
I
not
don't understand.
1.5 necessarily, but it is a common size used during federal and provincial elections, and this bylaw covers those as well. So as opposed to creating different size signs for different types of elections, we accepted the common size used during those other elections, and that's being recommended.
Fred, I appreciate your comments, and I do understand what 1.5 meters square is, and it's huge. It's pretty huge. So the average size of a municipal election sign, which we've seen in Mono, is a small fraction of that, maybe a third of that. So I would really oppose that, because if we start seeing signs, 1.5 meters is 1.5 meters square or long and 1 meter high. That's 1.5 meters. That's huge. And I don't understand that.
So the history is that it was a standard joke at election time that if you put up signs, you would be defeated. And many who attempted to blanket the landscape with signs did not fare that well. There have been examples to contradict that. Speaking for myself only, my signs in 2018 were roughly the size of one of the windows that we see there. Wow. And I had 10 of them. So I put them in locations where they were attributable to support of the adjacent landowner. I had a hard and fast rule of that, which I think should be reflected in this bylaw. But I have some difficulty because I have these signs in the garage and I haven't decided whether I'm going to run again. But if I do run again, I want to be able to use them.
Right, so that's a good but. So that's a bit biased on making a bylaw that's for everybody. I think that the town has, if you say that the town, and I'm new to the town, I've only been here for 12 years, but I kind of thought that that was one of the things. We make a big deal about our real estate signs can't even be more than a meter squared. So this is crazy that we can put up for the full 2 weeks, or no, you put it up for the full from August onward, right? How long would these signs be up for?
So for the municipal elections, it could be from nomination day, which is the Friday of the third week of August.
August 21st.
Until
The end of
no more
October.
than 3 days after. And I do
Yeah.
want to stress that this also applies for federal and provincial elections. So if council is thinking of changing the size of the sign, I would recommend that they only change it for municipal elections and leave it at 1.5 square meters for those other elections, keeping in mind that these signs, if you put a restriction too small, these signs are also sometimes at major intersections or roads that, the speed, along Highway 10 or something where the speed's going to be fast enough that a small sign may not be suitable in those locations.
Okay, I got it. So my little personal opinion is I don't even like them for the provincial and the federal elections either, but that's a personal thing. When you put a smaller sign, because we have had some people put smaller signs around. In the last election, there was a candidate who put his signs around, and they were small, and so then there would be a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point is that it is a pollution, but I mean, if the whole world is marching on paving paradise, then who am I to stand in the way? But I don't agree with it.
So the bylaw, Fred, as I understand it, specifies that a sign on a boulevard, in other words, has to be adjacent to a landowner who is supportive of the candidate. But then you have a list of roads that where this can occur. My question is, why confine it to those roads? Say you have a supporter who lives on the second line, as an example, and wants to put up a boulevard sign adjacent to their gate so that people driving past will say, so-and-so is supportive of that particular candidate. Why is it restricted to certain roads and not others?
So I'm proposing limiting it to larger roads or more, some of the larger roads for in the boulevard. But you can put it on your personal property anywhere. So in the example that you gave, Your Worship, if it was on the personal property, but not in the road allowance, that would be allowed. But only on, as you can see, primarily county roads and then a couple of roads that are access roads into subdivisions as opposed to in the boulevard in a subdivision or in a boulevard on a rural road. Those will be required to be.
So most of the roads in Mono are ineligible for boulevard signs?
Correct, the vast majority.
Even if the property owner is supportive and it's clearly attributable to that particular property owner. I think the problem we have is when it becomes, as Councillor Davey says, a form of pollution. And they're just, row after row of little signs and out in the middle of nowhere. And, that doesn't tell you anything as to,
Can I say, maybe I missed it, where's Schedule A? I can't find Schedule A.
Page 11 of 11 is the last page of the
It's the last
document.
page. That's where the roads are delineated.
Dufferin County Road 7, 8, 10, 16.
I don't have it. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's major, I don't have it.
Blue Heron, Devon Gate, Kingfisher, and Menora Park.
I don't have Schedule A.
I'd like to go back to this sign size again. I don't know whether we all have a clear understanding of it. Could you take the end of the ruler, please, Your Honor?
You've seen them for the liberal and the conservative.
Yeah, it would be
It's
the
a big one, and I
large
gather
highway
they're
size.
So that's 1.5 meters, folks. Hold it up.
He's right, it's about the size of that window.
That's ridiculous.
It is absurd for
And-
a municipal.
And by 1 meter this way, I just can't understand that.
So
Most
are we
of our
going to
si-
exempt the federal and provincial parties from putting signs up?
You can't do that.
I think we've got to be consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Wayne's got her
we
hand
can limit them too, but we don't see signs that are even close to that size, except in your garage, Your Honor.
No, believe me, they are used. They are used. Elaine?
Thank you, Worship. I just want to ask the question, are we allowed to regulate signs for provincial and federal elections?
Councillor Capes, yes, we are.
So, for all intents and purpose, we could say there is no allowability for election signs in the town of Mono.
We could, I suspect that would be a difficult, that there would be pushback from from provincial and federal elections on that. But council can, if they wish, pass a bylaw that prohibits signs even during those other elections.
Well, we either stand for signs or we don't, and I know the first time I campaigned in 2010, I used the song, signs everywhere, signs fogging up the scenery, breaking my mind. Oh, yeah. So I'm okay if we had a bylaw that says no election signs in the town of Mono.
And I am sort of as well. I just thought if we are going to allow signs, why preclude signs that have been, used in the past or federal, or provincial large signs? I mean, they have both sizes, frankly. I'm going to build a chicken coop out of mine.
I think it begs for people to come and knock on our doors. If you want my attention, come and actually knock on my door. And then you get my vote because you have come to my door to speak to me. It's not my job to then advertise for you on my, which is what I've always kind of felt. It's not my job to advertise for you. It's your job to then go next door or to stand there and,
Goes without saying.
yeah, right?
So could I, Your Worship, put on the floor a motion that Mono elects that, or makes a bylaw that there are no election signs allowed to be posted in the town of Mono? Anyone want to second that?
I'd go for it. I'd second it.
You'll second that, Melinda?
Okay, I haven't put the prepared motion on the floor.
Yeah, I'd second that one.
And I think we need to think about this, frankly. I'm in favor of deferring this to the next council meeting. It doesn't have to pass today.
Weigh in, Your Worship, but Councillor Capes put a motion on the floor and it was seconded by Davies.
Okay.
No?
I don't know. Let's
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so, there's nothing precluding a motion being put on the floor at this point. So, Councillor Capes, you're looking to put a motion on the floor directing the clerk to establish a bylaw that prohibits all election signs?
Yes.
The clerk is going to come back with a report to advise you of the risk that council's undertaking.
So
on
I
that.
move the table.
Great idea.
Non-debatable.
So,
Cricket?
well, let's.
He was going to give us a report. The end of it was it would be a report. He would come back from.
I do want to tell council that anything to do with signs for the municipal election has to be included in the clerk's procedures, and those must be published by May 1st. Ideally, they're going to be published by April 1st. Certainly before the 13th of April, but that's another story. So my suggestion is, council either consider this bylaw with or without amendments, or we maintain the status quo. We don't regulate any signs for election signs for the 2026 municipal election, because there isn't time to bring a bylaw back and get it into the clerk's procedures for the election. Okay. So it's either this with modifications or the status quo, which is we have no regulation whatsoever, including size. There's nothing in our sign bylaw that states the maximum or minimum size of a election sign should a candidate wish to put one up right now.
Then let's leave it status quo.
So, the status quo, I think, I'm violating the motion to table here. Status quo, I think we've heard from some members of council, they don't want status quo. They want no signs.
No signs.
So that's not status quo.
No, but it was a friendly agreement among candidates that they wouldn't put up
It
signs until
was-
somebody came along and put up big billboards.
It was a
point of
bit,
order.
there was never any written agreement. It was just sort of
No
a
written,
tradition.
a friendly
It
agreement.
just,
Point of order.
Yeah.
We did have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
And then we had a motion to table. So I think procedurally, we should do these things in the right order. The
Motion to
motion to table is non-debatable, but we're having a great debate about it.
I know.
So I think you should call the question on the motion to table.
No, because.
I have to. I
Yeah,
have-
but you,
I
but
have
if you already tabled, it's done. And this was just discussion of
No,
direction
we
for what
haven't- We
the,
haven't voted to
Put a
table.
motion to table on the floor.
Yeah.
oh, I
It's
thought
been
that
voted on.
quashed it right
No.
out of the gate.
No, we had to vote on the motion to table.
Okay, so if
I
we
didn't
could,
hear a motion to table, so I'm sorry.
right, so if we could just back up, let's put the motion on the floor if the mover and seconder are still in the position that we direct a bylaw be brought forward to prohibit all election signs in Mono. So is that the
Motion was on the
motion?
floor, and then there was a motion to table.
And I have to deal with
I
the motion.
agreed, I
to
just
table.
want to get one, I want to get it in writing, and then we'll go to the motion to table. So, Councillor Capes, is the motion to bring a bylaw back to prohibit all election signs in the town of Mono?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So, okay, hold on for a sec while I write that down.
Mutter, 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 mutter.
We could have just brought a report, because what's going to happen is it's just going to
Do we
die
have
now.
a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
Call the question?
No, now, it was, do we still have a motion to table the main
I'm
motion?
going to withdraw my motion to table. Simplify matters.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to bring back a bylaw to prohibit all election signs in the town of Mono. Your worship,
All those in favor? Those against? Does not carry.
But there still remains.
So we're back to square one.
I would suggest that we put the main motion that you have in front of you
Okay.
on the floor for a vote.
So that we introduce, the motion reads as follows, that we introduce and give the necessary readings to a bylaw to regulate election signs and election campaign advertisements in the town of Mono, that it be signed by the mayor and clerk for the town of Mono, sealed and engrossed in the bylaw book.
I'll move it.
Seconded by, so Fred moves, seconded by,
No seconder.
He's just orchestrating it, let's not do it today.
Well, the motion isn't on the floor.
Yeah.
it's not on the floor.
Okay, but
Let's move on.
clearly our clerk has brought us something that he would like to have resolved. So if you don't want to just stay status quo, which was what we were saying, if we don't want to not have signs, we don't, do we, what is it that?
By not
is
putting
our
this
next
motion on the
step?
floor, we in effect are going for the status quo.
Yes,
Yeah, right?
So that's done. Let's move on. to the
unless,
agenda.
unless it comes back next meeting.
Or maybe we want a better motion to come back.
why would it, yeah.
Why would it come back?
I wouldn't bring the motion back if it's lost at this point, your worship, without direction.
The motion is not lost, it's just not on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, status quo.
Let me ask council,
Have a
does
gentleman's
council,
agreement.
and this might need a resolution, does council want to see this bylaw back at the next meeting?
I'm not here in the next meeting.
for consideration.
Well, it's going to look really interesting when, for the first time, Orangeville's cleaned up its sign pollution, but we potentially haven't ours, depending
Now-
on how it goes.
Now, if I can make.
We don't have a pollution problem with signs because we've had this friendly agreement between candidates in the past that
Saw
nobody
that
would put
broken
signs
so
up.
many times.
So if I can propose another option to council, if they think they might want to see this bylaw again, that a new motion be introduced that says we give first reading to the bylaw, and that will bring the bylaw back.
You mean today we do that motion?
Yes. If council
Okay.
wants,
I'll
you
move
could.
that we-
So the motion would be amended to read that we give first reading to a bylaw to regulate election signs.
I'll move that. Still no seconder.
I'll second for argument's sake, and Elaine is as well.
So now we have a motion on the floor. It's identical to the one staff gave us, except it said for the first reading.
First reading. That allows me to measure the signs in my garage. Anyways, I'm going to call the question on that motion. Those in favor, please indicate.
Motion fails.
For first reading,
For
yes?
first reading only. First reading
Thank
only.
you. Thank you.
Motion carries.
It's gonna be a long meeting.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask for, so we have a motion by Deputy Mayor Nix. Do you wish to read all the whereases?
No, my assumption is the council has read the motion. It's been passed by a number of other municipalities or conservation authorities. The only thing I added was the clause, the third bullet, and then the last one about who it should be distributed to. You've all read it. I don't think it needs to be read again.
Ralph?
Fred, I understand where you're coming from here, and I can agree with the resolution, but I have some problem with the whereases. Some of them just don't sound right to me. For example, number one, road salt is known as a toxic substance. Fred, road salt is a physiological requirement of your body. You take it in every day. I think you should just get rid of that whereas. It's going to make us look dumb.
Okay, my only comeback, and I'm not the expert on this, Councillor Mangtalo, is that my understanding is under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act, it has been designated as a toxic substance. Again, I'm not the expert. That's what they said, it's been designated as a toxic substance.
But we can think ourselves, Fred, and we disagree with
I
them.
understand that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the amount of salt that's toxic, I don't know.
Of course
Again,
it-
I'm not claiming to be an expert, Councillor Mangtalo. I'm just saying that's what Water Watchers said.
And the third one, whereas the town of Mono has concerns about sodium levels, we have talked about those, and we recognize that they were so low that we had no concerns about them. That's my understanding.
Well, my comeback again is they're not so low, they're above 20 milligrams per liter, and above that level, we have to let the medical officer of health know about it, not because at that level there's any problem with them, except that my understanding, again, you're the doctor, I'm not, but at levels above 20 milligrams per liter, people with heart conditions might have to take some precautions. Again, I am not a doctor. That's what regulation number 170/03 says. If it's above 20 milligrams per liter, you have to report it.
Well, I think it makes us look rather dumb. Somebody who has a heart problem or kidney problem, they're supposed to keep themselves below 1,000 milligrams per day to 1,500 milligrams per day, so they need to drink, 25 liters. So I just think that we need to think about these things ourselves, and if some other organization has it down there, I wouldn't subscribe to it. I'd be happy with this if you remove the first and the third whereas.
I would not consider that a friendly amendment.
Elaine?
By the way, I haven't had a seconder.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for bringing this forward, Mr. Nix. And I would like to add a whereas as a friendly amendment because you don't mention anywhere the damage and death caused to roadside trees. And that's a
Okay.
fact.
Fred reminds me that we don't have a seconder to this motion. Do we have a seconder?
Oh, my goodness.
I'll second it.
Okay.
So now
And
technically,
I'd like to add that whereas statement, that whereas salt, the amounts of salt on roads is damaging and causes death to roadside trees. I can give you a book that I can cite that from if you'd like.
What are we going to do besides?
I think there's already too many citations here that are causing controversy.
yeah, I don't disagree with you, Elaine. Again, I'm not the expert. I'm sure it probably does some harm to roadside vegetation, although empirically, I would have to say, I live on a county road. It hasn't hurt any of my trees. So look, if you want to add it, I will consider it as a friendly amendment, but I'm not enthusiastically agreeing to this.
Can I ask what is the, because I read this the other day and I can't find it now. What's the resolution? Just that we're going to use less, but I mean, we have a problem on our roads.
We
No,
can't
it's not
probably
that we're
use,
going to use less. We're asking the province to get into this issue of liability, which is one of the reasons why we use so much salt, and to look at best management practices. I already know, because I've raised this issue before with our Mono staff, that we are very careful on how much salt we use. But we may need some provincial, should I say regulation or guidance or help in looking at this problem. That's really what the motion's saying.
But Fred, item 3 is the town of Mono commits to the reduction of the use of road salt as much as possible while maintaining safety on roads, parking lots, and sidewalks. That's a given.
Are we not
And
doing that already?
we already do that,
We already
but I'm
do that.
just reconfirming that in the motion.
Sounds like we're making a new commitment to me.
No, I think staff have always told me that they do commit to that.
Exactly.
Right.
So we don't need it in there.
All right, I'll consider that a friendly amendment. Take clause 3 out. Are we going to get lunch?
Well,
You're feeling hard done by, Fred.
okay. So I think there's a consensus that we waive the formal reading of the whereases so that we can get lunch at our own
Yes, but if we've
home.
edited them, they perhaps should be read so that people know.
Well, I'm happy to read if everyone else is in concurrence, but
I'm happy with you.
Okay. Anyone else happy with me not reading it? It will be online, available for anyone to scrutinize, including the friendly amendment having to do with trees,
And including
and removing two of
item
the...
number 3, which
Yeah, item
I
number
think
3.
is silly, but I'll go for it.
Okay. So I'll read the be it resolved portion that the town of Mono urges the province of Ontario to work urgently with key stakeholders to develop limited liability legislation, including enforceable contractor training and a single set of provincially endorsed standard BMPs for snow and ice management, and the town of Mono urges the province to create and fund an expert stakeholder advisory committee to advise the province and municipalities on the best courses of action to protect freshwater ecosystems and drinking water from the impacts of salt pollution. And the town of Mono commits to the... Right, that's out. And that this resolution be sent to all municipalities in Dufferin County, the Association of Ontario Municipalities, local MPP Sylvia Jones, Conservation Ontario, Ontario Municipal Water Association Minister Todd McCarthy, Attorney General Doug Downey, and Premier Doug Ford.
And I think the motion's already been moved and seconded. I just will add in support of this that it will be a similar motion. The NVCA has already passed a motion like this. A similar motion to this will be on the next meeting of the Credit Valley Conservation, and I'm pretty hopeful it'll pass there too.
Okay. Those in favor? Motion, any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the contract for road sweeping. Fairly straightforward. I'll read the motion. The council.
Bridge tender.
You missed the bridge construction.
Oh, Bridge 5. Oh, that was Freudian. Bridge 5 reconstruction tender, and Matt, over to you.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, so council's aware this project's been on our radar for many years now, and we've managed to secure the property. It closed last Friday, March 6th, and happy to move this project along, get the award to the contractor who's extended it almost a year now. And that'll enable us to get in before the migratory bird window and start some works out on site, and hopefully start construction once the window opens for MVCA to get in the water.
Okay.
Two questions.
Yes.
Is the purchase price public knowledge or? No? And what's this about migratory birds? Could you explain that?
All the works is within the budget that council approved it last year as part of the 2025 budget.
Right.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I misheard you. I thought you said migratory birds.
yeah, your first question about the public purchase price,
Yes.
that is within the budget that council approved last year.
I see, it's in the blanket budget.
Yeah, and migratory bird window is a set date that we have to get the trees cut so the birds migrating back before they start to nest in the trees. So we want to get out there before they arrive and ideally get the brushing and whatnot completed.
Thank you.
Okay, shall I read the motion? Town of Mono accepts a bid price of $1,322,605.77, excluding HST and including provisional works from Esposito Brothers Construction Limited for the reconstruction of Bridge 5 here Ontario Street, approximately 430 meters north of Dufferin Road 7, Hockley Road. I have a mover for that. Councillor Manctilo, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nix. All those in favor? And that motion carries with a musical accompaniment. Okay. Okay. And the last item here is the contract for road sweeping. Matt, any comments on this before I read the motion?
No comments. It's straightforward. Unfortunately, the low bidder contacted us not long after we took it to council last week and said that they couldn't meet the equipment requirements. And yeah, we're hoping to move forward with this as soon as Mother Nature lets us.
Okay, so I have a motion. Any questions?
Because they were coming from Toronto, right? They're the ones I asked the question about. Are these guys going to come all the way from Toronto to do sweep our roads, right?
It was more of a availability of equipment.
Oh, yeah, 2 units, okay.
So I have a motion that the council for the town of Mono accept the price of $457.65 inclusive of HST for the supply and operation of 3 road sweepers from Fairfield Seaborne Contractors, Inc. of Caledon, Ontario, to provide road sweeping on various roads in the town of Mono, and further that the contract may be extended to 2027, subject to the work meeting all the contract requirements described within the signed bid document, complete to a level that is satisfactory to the town and maintains competitive pricing. Do I have a mover for that? Ralph seconds. Ralph moves. Melinda is the seconder. Any other questions, comments? Any opposed? That motion carries. Next motion I have is that we accept Schedule A to this agenda. Maybe we'll just ask Canvas Council as to whether there are any issues on Schedule A they want to raise. Councillor Capes?
Thank you, and I didn't get this in advance. Number 3 and number 9.
Okay, let's deal with number 3.
Oh. Okay, I just wanted clarification from the treasurer for the public about council's remuneration and the differences in the health benefits columns.
Les, this has come up before, but maybe you could explain how the health benefits amounts are arrived at.
The health benefits, that's the actual cost of the premiums we're paying on behalf of council, and they align, I mean, with certain exceptions, they align with premiums that are paid for staff based on coverages. So our health benefits are through Sun Life, and there's a monthly premium, and for each month I added it up, and those are the totals for each member of council that receives the health benefits. There is an age restriction. Once you hit 75, there's no benefits. That's why there's a couple councillors that are not on the list.
I thought it was 70.
It was increased to 75.
Oh. I think this is unfair because Ralph and I need some tender love and care.
Actually, I
right.
don't think I'm 75 yet.
Elaine, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I just wanted that mentioned for the public. And also, the Planning and Environment Committee, I don't believe it met this year. Is that why it's not on the list?
Under what item is that?
It's not on there.
It's not on there. Yeah.
Right, it's not listed. Did we lump that under Committee of Adjustments? Or did we not put it here at all because there was no payments made? That's my question.
Mike, any thoughts on that? I don't think they've met. Or less?
So the Planning Advisory Natural Heritage Committee has not met this year?
Right.
Last year, sorry.
Right, so it's not listed there. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, everybody was clear about what's there and why things are not there. Okay, that's great, thank you very much.
And you were looking for a discussion on number 9, the POA fourth quarter disbursements. Your question?
Yeah, it's very quick. I wanted to kind of understand what's going on in the town of Grand Valley.
Oh, I can help you with that.
Because look at, they're making a lot of money.
They had something called safety cameras until they were shut down.
Oh.
And that's why their revenue is so high. They will not be earning that income anymore.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
It was a cash grab.
Wow.
Which benefited the town of Grand Valley enormously, as it would of any other municipality that was fortunate enough to have it.
Right, and so it behooves the question about, our monitoring speeding, because in that those officers who used to be in specific sites are no longer there. I can tell you that the speeding in those areas has increased. But you were going to bring that up with the OPP at their board meeting, right?
Yeah, we had a good discussion of that fact. And there are some stats that would suggest that they are catching up to the level of enforcement that we were experiencing before the retirement of Larry Makowski.
Okay.
I certainly have seen them out on the street a lot more.
They're doing their best.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, any other councillors with items on Schedule A? So seeing none, did I do that motion, Fred?
No, the motion for accepting Schedule A has not been put on the floor yet, Your
Okay,
Worship.
so we have a motion to accept Schedule A. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Capes. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Reports of members of council and staff. Les, anything?
I have nothing to report, Your Mayor.
Matt? Kim?
Thank you. Just two quick things. One is to let council know that in February, the 22nd it was, the Recreation Department, particularly Emma and Shelby, participated in the Hockley Valley Resort Wedding Show. And that was the first time we've ever participated in anything like that, promoting Menorah and Mono Center, and I have to tell you, it was extremely successful. So we've had a lot of calls on that. We're actually booked a wedding into 2028 already. So I just wanted to let council know it was on a Sunday, staff participated, and it was a great means of marketing for us. The other thing is, now that Emma has departed, we have advertised the position for the replacement recreation assistant.
Fred, anything?
Nothing from me, Your Worship.
Mike?
Just quickly, council's aware that the clerk's position has been posted as well, and that's it.
Melinda?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Ralph? Nothing. Fred?
Well, very quickly, and Melinda, you may want to add to this, but we did have a meeting of the Shelburne District Fire Board last week, and I guess the big item was we had I'm going on memory, Melinda, so about $150,000 surplus from last year, which sounds like we did a poor job on budgeting, but we didn't actually. There was just some surprises. After we took out the amount that had to go to pay the deficit from last year, we had $132,000 left, and the debate was what to do with that $132,000. One suggestion was to leave it as a reserve right through, part of it, right through to 2027. The problem with that suggestion is if Shelburne is correct and the 2019 agreement is the correct agreement, Shelburne would take over on January 1, 2027 and inherit the reserve. And some people felt, hey, that reserve was earned when there was 5 municipalities that were on the board, and maybe we should distribute that reserve to the 5 municipalities in the right proportion. Shelburne would still get its 57%. In any case, the debate ended. We left it as a reserve with the thought that we will discuss this further as the year progresses, because one of the unknowns is whether the 2019 agreement applies or the 1991 agreement applies. I think that's, Melinda, you weigh in if you think I've misstated anything.
Yeah, it was, in the end, it was put into a surplus reserve, a new fund to keep that money accounted for, as opposed to distributing it either within the budget or to the municipalities. So it was extra money that came because of motor vehicle accidents, recouping insurance money, WSIB, and also something from Hydro One had been billing us in error, invoicing us in error, and so gave us money back. So it's not like there's going to be a surplus in the future again, but it did indicate that once we, as the board had directed staff to really go after the motor vehicle accidents, there actually, it was fruitful, and we did get some money.
And I guess the other thing we should report is, and since it is public domain, since we've started some legal actions, Mono staff did attend the meeting and sat in the room and took notes throughout the meeting.
You misspoke. It was Shelburne.
What did I say?
Mono.
Oh, sorry. Shelburne staff sat in on the meeting and took notes for the whole course of the meeting.
I do have a comment here.
Which to say, I mean, as the town, anybody hears this or whatever, all of these meetings are open to the public. Anybody is welcome to always come and ask questions or just listen and to all of these, and you can find out when meetings are by checking the website.
But just for the record, in my almost 16 years on the board, this is the first time we've, quote, had a member of the public attend the meeting.
Ralph?
I should have mentioned that something that was of interest to me, and I think should be of interest to our planning department as well. At the last Wellington, Deferred, and Guelph Board of Health, we had a presentation about what they call the Built Environment Program.
The what?
Built, B-U-I-L-T, Built Environment Program. And it's a relatively new program. And it's a program in which they will consider anything that's going on in the municipality in terms of development. Primarily, if there's a large development like Line 2 or something smaller, and they'll look at it in terms of providing an assessment and recommendations that will best create a well-rounded community rather than just rows of houses. So I thought it was of interest, and I mentioned it to Mike, and he's aware of it, particularly with Line 2. because this is an organization that has significant clout, and if they make some credible recommendations along the lines of some of the things we've been talking about having a community which is for people with more than just a place to sleep, that we might involve them. And I think Mike might want to comment on when we might involve them, but their recommendations would carry a significant weight with OLT or otherwise, I think.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Would they then comment on this line 2 development, that there's a possibility, I use the word possibility, it's not guaranteed, that the water source may have an arsenic issue in it?
My understanding, Fred, is that their mandate is pretty broad, and anything that relates to health, they can comment on.
Thank you. Elaine, anything?
Did you want to say something?
They would probably comment, Ralph, on the social development, indicators for health, and that is everything. So that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Nothing necessarily to report. There have been no committee meetings, but I know we have a fire call annual report that I have to pick mine up. And I wanted to understand, does the OPP also issue an annual call report? And I wanted to inquire about the mayor's attendance at the last OPP meeting and what was said about the items that you said you would take forward about them taking serious any reports on gunfire.
I did raise it, and I informed them that we did not, in the end, pass the bylaw, and that we would be looking to the OPP to investigate any complaints and act accordingly. So I did put it on the table, and there was no negativity associated with the issue, no pushback, well, you should be having your own bylaw. They seem to accept that they have a responsibility, and I think that's progress.
That's great. And will they give us a complaints report?
They do issue a fairly comprehensive report on incidents and break down the nature of those incidents, and I'm sure that it will show up one way or the other. And we'll make sure that it does. It's a Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's a confidential document, but it's probably just not widely circulated. We see it at the board.
Yeah, it's included in the OPP detachment board meetings, in the minutes for those meetings, and those meetings are publicly available.
Are they on our website?
Yeah, the minutes are on our website for those.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. That's great.
Okay. So that brings us to notices of motion. Any notices of motion? Not seeing any? No in-camera items today? And that brings us to the confirming bylaw, that we introduce and give the necessary readings to a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Mono in Session 5-2026, held on the 10th of March, 2026, that it be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and engrossed in the bylaw book. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Capes moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nix. Any opposition? Seeing none, I have a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 11:54 a.m. Moved by Councillor Davey, seconded by Councillor Capes. Any opposition? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Elaine.
Thank you very much. Bye.